Hello?
Can you guys hear us?
This is
Testing.
definitely a test situation.
Testing. We have a different mic setup.
I'm actually really excited to show you. Can they see it? Oh, they can't see it.
No.
Okay. I was going to say.
Good morning,
Hello,
chat.
everyone. This is weird. I'm not used to looking to my left.
Okay, we are in Squad Stream.
Nice. All right.
We're doing it.
Hi, everyone.
I know. This is weird.
This is very odd, but I'm into it. Well, you guys should see the mic setup we have going on over here. I brought my wave, and it's like, but I didn't bring the boom arm, so it's just like chilling on this, and it's on a stack of books. But I mean, as long as it sounds okay, that's really, I guess, all that matters.
Hi, Bear.
Yeah. Oh, we got a visitor. Hi, Reese. He's so pumped.
Reese has been my shadow lately. He will not leave my side. Yeah.
He loves mama.
He's been really mama's boy. Can you guys hear us okay?
Chat says, oh, I sound quieter? Here. Hello? Or wait. Hello?
Is that better?
Is that better?
Oh, yeah, your inputs look done.
Look, okay.
Can you hear me on her mic? Is it bad or is it okay? Is it good? Is it better than the last mic setup?
We could... That was fun. I just need to scream. Don't test me. Fantastic. Okay, cool. Cannot hear duplicates. All right.
Well, there we go.
We made it work. This is exciting.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. Happy podcast day.
How's your week been?
Some really stressful days, but some of like the best days we've had.
Really?
Yeah. So pumping is finally getting easier because I'm kind of figuring it out. And plus, I think my supply is starting to catch up.
Yep.
Not catch up, but like because I'm pumping so much, it's starting to increase. So I have to do less pumps to get the amount that I need.
It's good.
Which is really good. So
Nice, actually.
Because I would do so I'm trying to get 5 ounces for each feed, right?
If you guys didn't know, Steph is switching from nursing to exclusively pumping, which is what we're talking about right now.
Yeah, because I need to make sure Cohen's getting enough milk.
Mm-hmm.
And we weren't sure if he was breastfeeding, so just to be safe, I started doing it, and then now I'm just like obsessed with knowing how much he's getting. But anyways, so I would have to pump like 2, sometimes even 3 times in like a 2-hour to 3-hour window.
That would drive me insane.
To try and get enough milk for the next feed. And now it was 10:30, and so I feed him 6 times a day.
Yeah.
The first time I wake up and I breastfeed him because my boobs are really full, so I know he's getting enough, right? And then so I breastfeed once, and then I pump 5 times, or I have 5 pumps worth of milk that I need to give him.
You're a hero.
Get this though, it's 10:30, and I pumped twice last night. That was extra.
Yeah.
So I only have to pump 2 more times.
Yeah, you said you were hoping to get enough to save last night. How much did you end up getting?
So I pumped. So I usually try and get a full 5.
Yeah.
Before I go to bed, so that I have it for the morning feed, and then
Right.
I'm like 1 ahead, so I'm not like freaking out.
Right.
And then I had an extra 3.5 ounces.
Yes, let's go.
Yeah. And then this morning, my pump was 7.5 ounces.
Oh my god.
So then I had not only the 3 from last night, but the extra 2.5 from the 7.5. So I was 2 full pumps ahead.
That's a lot.
I know. So
How big of a relief do you feel?
knowing he's getting enough.
Yeah.
So such a relief.
Yeah.
Such a big relief.
Yeah, I know.
So
That's good. I'm excited for you. I'm excited to see just like you continue to move along in this process because I know it's difficult.
that's the thing.
And you got your LV too.
I know. Waddle, that's the worst part. Pumping is really stressful and hard, but the amount of bottle cleaning I have to do is out of this world.
I would absolutely hate that.
Yeah.
I'm good. Bodies are wild. It's crazy. So it's funny you mentioned that, Rissa, because I was talking to Steph when I first got here. So with Hazel, when I was pregnant with her, I gained 42 pounds total. And then this pregnancy, so I'm almost 28 weeks. I weighed in and I'm at 21 gains so far. But my bras still fit. Like most of what I've gained is very much in my middle. And I'm like, how is it possible that I've gained this much already and yet like things are still fitting? Pregnancy in general is so weird to me.
I mean,
it's so odd.
maybe because you're just carrying it differently? You know how
I
they
don't
say like
know.
boys versus girls and all that?
I'm going to look up a picture and see what I looked like at this point.
Okay, so
when I was pregnant with Hayes.
Another highlight though, can I share?
Of course.
So we got hit really hard with the 4-month sleep regression. Cohen basically was not napping longer than 30 minutes ever at a time. So basically we were doing 5 naps a day, which is super stressful.
It's so hard because it's not enough time to get anything done. And then he's not sleeping as well because they're not long stretches. That's hard.
And the last few days, he's been getting 3 solid 1-hour naps in. So we've dropped a nap.
I'm telling you.
And we're like at the 3 naps, 1 hour each. And sometimes I'll have to add in a cat nap that's like 20 minutes, 30 minutes just to get him to bedtime. But it's just so amazing.
So here's what I'll tell you is that once he gets to the point where he is down to 1 nap,
and it's like 2 hours.
It will change your life.
Yeah.
Like even at this point, right? Hazel is almost 3. And if she doesn't get a nap in, my day is like... My day is not easy. It's a very challenging day. But during said nap time, it's like, even yesterday, I worked. I'm out of focus. Is that, might be because do I need to lean forward more?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. But yeah, it's like, I get so much done in that time frame. So I think you're going to find that your life is a lot more manageable time-wise once Cohen gets down to that point.
Well, and here's the other thing. I'm already halfway to my goal. Like, I wanted to breastfeed until he was a year. Yeah. I'm halfway there.
It goes by really fast, too.
And I was talking... I had this really awesome guy in my chat the other day who was Australian. And he's got, like, a 9-month-old, which is crazy. So, in Australia, you can just go to the hospital that you gave birth and do, like, sleeping classes. I know. Insane. Anyway.
I feel like that's true for other parts of the world too. Like if you go into Scandinavia.
He's like, yeah, we just popped into the hospital and we were doing like sleep courses. And I was like,
okay. Great.
Nice.
That's cool. What's that like? Can't relate.
Yeah. So, but he was like telling me, he was like, you know, it was really, I know like my community has evolved a lot since I first started streaming because so many parents come through now but it's just really cool to have conversations with parents who are like in a similar spot or who just got out of the experience that you're going through and stuff. And he was just like, hey, it gets better. He's like, the thing is by the time they're 9 months, a lot more of their calories are going to come from food. And so your need and like the stress levels of like making sure you're getting all the milk will just like not be as crazy because you can supplement more food and calories with food and if he needs more fats you can put butter on everything and stuff like that. And he's like, it'll just get easier. And
That's
I'm like,
true. And for the record, Hazel went down to 1 nap a day at 10 months. So
that's insane.
It's not far away. She did, and that's early, mind you.
Yeah.
But she was not interested in more than 1 nap. And I remember even asking her doctor, I was like, hey, I know it's kind of early for this, but what do you think? And she was like, if Hazel's acting that way and she's showing no interest in another nap, like 1 nap is fine. She's just a little bit ahead. And that's how it's been since she was 10 months old, 1 nap a day.
Dang.
So I'm just saying it's possible. I'm not saying it's for sure. It's going to depend on him, but
yeah, he likes napping.
There is light at the end of the tunnel. He likes napping. What's that like? Can't relate.
He loves it.
My kid hates it.
He sits in his crib now. He has his Lammy. And he sits there and he just talks to himself. He goes, he throws Lammy around and then he rolls over and he rolls some more and he just sits there and he chit chats with himself and then finally he starts like rubbing. You can always tell when he's about to go to sleep because he starts rubbing Lammy on his face and then he just goes to bed. And I'm like, you're the best.
For the record, guys, Hazel is currently here and she's downstairs hanging out with Cohen and Brennan, and they're so freaking cute. It's adorable. She was a little shy this morning when she got here. It'd been a couple days since she's seen you guys, and so she was like a little weird about it.
She's always kind of shy though.
At first.
Yeah.
And then she opens up and it's like, blah! It's screaming, it's running, it's yelling. It's all very standard Hazel behavior.
Can't relate. I have a demon 10 months.
It's true. Like it shows that every kid really is different. And that's why I'm a little nervous this time around because I feel like I got really lucky with Hazel because she was so easy for so long.
We keep saying that.
I know.
Every time Cohen does something extraordinary and we're like, you are the best, most easy kid ever, we're like, fuck.
Oh, it's the second one going to be like...
Yeah.
Rick says it all the time. He's like, baby brother's got a lot of living up to do. Big shoes to fill. I'm like, babe, don't say that. He's not even born yet. Stop putting pressure on him. Like, what are you doing? But still, yeah, it's coming up quick.
So Cohen started solids at 4 months because he had really good head control and he was ready. And we needed to kind of get him a couple more calories in there. So he's been on solids for a while and he loves them. He loves eating.
Just like his auntie.
And he loves, so we're also practicing something called Tiny Cup with him. It's basically open cup practicing, which helps with dexterity, helps with a lot of stuff with young babies, and it transitions them to be able to do like straw cups and stuff a little sooner. He loves it. You hold Tiny Cup up and he goes, and
I'm sorry, I missed that. What was that?
And he loves it.
Yeah.
He gets really frustrated if you don't give it to him. He's like, ah. So he loves it.
I love it. Isn't it cool that you can like see preferences at this point? Like you can see what he's into and what he's not into. And like, that's just so cool. Yeah. Baby led weaning's also a big one. In fact, he's got to be ready for it here pretty quick.
We're going to start when high chair gets here.
So if you guys don't know what baby led weaning is, I'm a huge proponent of baby led weaning, but essentially it's like when you think babies, for those of you guys who aren't parents and don't really know this, when you think babies, you think like baby food, right? Like you think of a small tiny human and you spoon feed them food, which is pretty typical, especially from 4 to 6 months. But at 6 months, typically once they have proper head control, they can sit up by themselves. Babies can actually feed themselves. And so you literally can take like a banana and like break it in half and put it in front of them. And they are capable of grabbing said banana and eating it, right? And same with a whole bunch of other foods like avocados or like peanut butter, you name it.
I think the philosophy is you make it into like come into soldiers is what they call it.
Because they can grab it with their whole fist.
So basically like a French fry shape. Think like a steak fry shape thing. So it's long and they can fist it. So they can put their whole hand around it and then they just, they don't have teeth yet, but they just sit there and they gnaw on it. And they eat it, and then it teaches them dexterity, hand-eye coordination. It teaches them, how to like swallow, which is huge. There'll be a lot of gagging, which is, terrifying, but part of the process.
Well, and also what's cool about baby-led weaning is that it is a method that, so babies and toddlers there's a term for it, but it's basically when it's called intuitive eating, right? So they know when to stop eating, whereas a lot of us grew up being essentially force fed, and so
finish your vegetables,
finish your meal. You can't get up from the meal until you finish it. Like with the mentality that we need to finish what's on our plate. And so babies, by not spoon feeding them, right, and essentially doing the same thing, like forcing them to eat, allowing them the opportunity to decide how much to eat, how hungry they are, is automatically giving them that control over their hunger, which is a big deal, and it's a really big part of having a healthy gut and teaching them, don't eat until you're full, eat until you're not hungry, which promotes, a healthy lifestyle. Yeah. So, so many good things about baby led weaning.
The cool thing about baby weaning that I really like is I was not allowed to be a picky eater growing up, but it would absolutely devastate me if my kid was a super picky eater. So if you there's so many books and great blogs and stuff to follow, but there's this one that I was looking at that has like the 100 first foods that you should try, and you can go down the list, and obviously it's sorted so that by age, so as they get older you give them like harder to eat things, but it starts off with like banana, avocado, all the way down the list. But they literally say like give them anchovies, give them
all the food that you think babies won't like,
but you let them try it themselves, and it takes up to 3 tries for them to decide whether they like it or not. And but it just expands their palate, so they go, wow, there are salty things and savory things and sweet things and all this stuff, and they don't go, oh, I only like chicken nuggets.
So speaking of food that kids don't like, Hazel hates onions. Isn't that a tragedy?
I feel like a lot of kids do.
No, I mean, it's literally like, I used to not believe her when she would say she didn't like certain things, because I'm like, okay, well, you don't like it yet, right? Or you don't like it now, or you don't want it now. But it is quite literally every time we feed her something with onions, she will spit out the onions. Like, every time.
I mean.
And I'm like, oh, my child, are you sure we're related? Onions are amazing.
Onions when he was a kid, too. But I think that is something you can grow into. So,
I hope
tragedy, I've given Cohen, like, did I say Cohen? Cohen, like, 20 foods now.
Yeah.
He hates broccoli.
No.
Not hates to the point where he won't eat it. Okay, I bribed him.
Yeah.
So I'm doing purees right now because I started when he was so young and he wasn't old enough to start baby led weaning. So I started him on purees, and so I would give him a bite of broccoli and he'd go, right? And so then
I'm loving these
he wouldn't open his mouth for another bite of broccoli. So, smart mom move, I would give him a bite of strawberries.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, ooh, and he'd open his mouth every other time. So then I'd shove a bunch of broccoli in there.
Eat your broccoli.
And by the end of it, he was like fine eating the broccoli. He ate all 2 ounces of the broccoli. So it's not like it was like a torturous situation for him. But he's just, of all the things, that's been the hardest to get him to just like open up for.
So speaking of the 100 food list, I need to have Alyssa send you her list of Arya's foods, because that's literally what she did. She kept a note in her phone of every single new food that she had Arya try, and I guarantee you she still has it. And I know for a fact it was over 100 foods.
Yeah.
So I don't know if she like how long it took her to get to that point, but she documented the whole thing. So I'll have to text her and ask her to send that.
I'd like to see it.
For inspiration. Yeah, because there's so many different things you wouldn't even think of. Because like I'm a very I'm a creature of habit in most aspects of my life, including food. And so I like to make the same recipes. I have the same coffee every morning. I like the same I literally make the same eggs every single morning. Like I just like consistency in my diet. And so because of that, it makes it more challenging for me to reach out and try new foods. That was the nice thing about Blue Apron when we did that, was it was constantly new meals. And so I was always trying new things. It was introducing different ingredients. And so it kind of makes me want to start doing that again, just to say like, add something different into our meals.
I think Blue Apron is great in short bursts.
Yes.
At least for
when
our
it's
family,
every week.
I don't think it's sustainable to do it all the time, because then, life happens, right? And then you end up getting backed up and you end up not eating all the meals or
throwing
cooking
food away.
And then you feel really bad about it. So then you feel really guilty about the next time. And it's like this vicious cycle. Brett and I did it for 2 meals a week, and we would make it whenever we were ready to make it. And it was great for like month and a half, and then we like paused our subscription, and then we'll pick it up when we're ready again. But I just feel like the low pressure of it is so much better than like,
I agree.
Even like when Vern was living with us and he was doing it every single day, like I could tell, like there was just days where he was like, oh, I have to cook my meal, you know what I mean? It was just like a chore instead of like a joy, which I don't
But to be fair, Blue Apron taught me how to cook in a lot of ways. Like, I didn't grow up in a household where I was taught anything in the kitchen. Like, I really didn't. It took me dating my first real boyfriend. Well, not my first, but one of my first real boyfriends who went to culinary school. And he, like, taught me how to chop an onion. He taught me, like, all these very basic things in the kitchen that I otherwise wouldn't have known how to do. And so that, like, started the learning curve for me. And then it wasn't until Blue Apron that it was, like, learning these different methods of cooking and learning the different ingredients and how they work together and, like, what an aioli is. And I'm like, oh my God, I feel like my horizons have broadened, which has been really good for Hazel too, because that was my biggest thing when I got pregnant. I was like, I need to know how to cook. I can't not cook for my kid. Like, I have to have meals for her, because when I was a kid, all my parents did would be go out to eat and do things like that. And so I never really got the home cooked meals. And so that was really important to me, especially for like, just for like family time, right?
Yeah.
Not even so much the nutritional aspect of it, even though that's important, but like sitting around at the table together, talking about our day at the same time, no phones, sitting down until everyone's finished, and like having that be our meal time.
Yeah.
Like our family time at the end of the day. And Rick knows that. Like, he and I got in a fight last night because we had pizza and we were all sitting down, and then in the middle of dinner, he's like, I'm going to go poop. And so he gets up, and then Hazel's like, I'm going to go too. And so they both just got up and left. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm here by myself. And then he came back and he's like, oh, I thought you were done. It's like, bitch, there's still food on my plate. Like, what are you doing? Like, what is the problem? And so he's like, okay, you're right. I'm sorry. I know I should have waited until you're done. And so having that be like a consistent time of day where everybody sits down, whether it's out to a restaurant or at home or whatever, where that's like family time, I think is, in my opinion, pretty important.
Well, yeah. I agree. I mean, we'll see. I don't know.
Well, your mom did a lot of cooking for you as a kid, right?
Exclusively.
I was
we
gonna
like
say.
never ate out.
Yeah.
So it's definitely really important to me to have family dinners too. Mm-hmm. I think I mean I really love what Alyssa does with Aria, where she like has Aria help cook meals, and that promotes her interest in eating the food because she helped prepared it. Like I would ideally love to buy into that philosophy. We'll see how it goes when the time comes. But I told Brennan, I was like, you know, okay, so we originally started when we had Cohen. We moved his stream schedule so that it could accommodate a dinner.
I remember.
It's just not working out right now. There's not really any point. Cohen isn't eating dinner with us, right?
And he's going to bed before dinner time anyway.
Yes, and Brendan was ending his stream at 6:30, which, you know, Cohen goes to bed by 7, so it just wasn't making sense. So we've moved Brendan's stream time back to where it was more. So he streams from like 2 to like 8:30 or 9 now.
Oh.
Yeah. So
which also gives you guys more time to each like wrap up your own streams.
Yes. It gives me more time to stream. It gives me the ability to stream and then end streaming, and we still have like 2.5 hours together.
Yeah.
And then he can go stream. So that it makes more sense now, but there will come a point where Cohen's older and he's eating dinner with us where we'll have to figure out, is Brennan going to do a split schedule where he streams for 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours at night after he goes to bed? Or like we're gonna have to figure out what to do.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, I think you'll figure that out as the time comes.
But so the problem is, the issue is Brennan's community is so entrenched in the PM that he moved to stream up. He was starting like around noon 1.
It was just too early.
His viewership is just non-existent.
Yeah.
You know, and that sucks. It hurts, right, to see that. And it's just like, by the time 4 or 5 p.m. comes around, when he'd be ending a stream,
when it starts picking up.
He's like up to like 1,400 viewers, and then he has to end right there, and he's starting at like 500 viewers. Just like for his channel is really low.
That's really tough.
So I'm like, right now, let's not hurt the channel right now. There's no reason to. So let's keep your.
I mean, the only other reason would be like for him to participate in like bedtime,
which he does. He walks away from the stream for like 10, 15 minutes.
I'm gonna put Cohen down. Yeah, that makes sense.
Or I bring him in and I give him a bath and I bring him downstairs, and Brennan like holds him and talks with the stream while he's saying goodnight to Cohen, and then I go get his bottle ready and stuff like that. So we're making it work.
Yeah,
but
that's the thing about having a newborn, is that you really have to be flexible, like in some manner or another, right? Like, and it's tough because once you figure something out, something else changes, right? Once you have consistency in your schedule, or like Cohen's doing this or Hazel's doing this, and you think you've got it all figured out, it's not until I would say they're about 2 that you really start to nail it down. And like, okay, this is how my kid behaves, whether it's sleep training or food or just overall behavior, schedules, all of it is constantly changing. And especially right now for you, because this age, it's like every single week there's something different.
Oh my, and like,
it's constant. I know.
I like cried the other day because it's I'm not kidding you guys. It's literally overnight. Overnight, he just wakes up the next day and is a different baby.
Yeah.
We bought him this little walker.
Have they seen it yet?
Yeah, on Brennan's stream.
So cute.
We bought this little walker, and he was like on his tippy toes. Tippy toes. It's been 2 weeks. Now he's completely flat-footed, and he's running around, sprinting, like full on. He's standing up in it, and he's like doing the waddle walk, like a penguin, and he's just like zooming, and we're like, what the fuck? He's rolling, he's scooting, he's this close to crawling. He's scooting with his arm, but his legs are starting to move in tune with his arms, and he's like starting to get up on his knees. He's like this close to crawling, and we're just like, what is happening?
Everything changes
so fast
once he starts crawling.
Yeah,
truly.
Yeah,
and it's cool, right? It's like fun to watch, but at the same time, it's like, okay, now we got a baby proof. Like, you just bought all the baby proofing stuff, and you're gonna start,
because he's in his little walker. He's walking up to kitchen cabinets and he's
pulling open the cabinets,
and
like, what's in here? Pulling things out
because he watches us. He walks in the kitchen. He watches me, and I'm doing stuff, and he's
getting
like,
in the cabinets
oh,
and doing
you can
things.
open these.
And that's not
try.
Yeah. So we had baby locks on our cabinets for a long time. We kept them on there for about a year. And then once Hazel was 2, we kind of did what Alyssa was doing with Aria, where we incorporated her not just into the kitchen and cooking, but also just like, the Montessori method really encourages kids to be independent and do their own everything, right? And so we moved all of her dishes down to her level, and so she could go get her plate and go get her fork. And so it was like, well, it doesn't make sense to have a baby lock on cabinets if she's going to be the one accessing certain things.
Right.
And so we ended up taking it off. And that was the only one that we left it on was the cabinets below the sink, because that's where all like the chemicals were and things like that, which we obviously didn't want her getting into.
Yeah.
But still, it was like, okay, this is a really big step. I don't know if we're ready for this. And she did great. She was thriving with it. It just depends on how you go about doing it, and, teaching your child to like live up to certain expectations and saying, okay, we can go in this when we need something, but it's not time for dinner yet, so we don't need our plates. And so they know not to go in there except when it's dinner time or meal time.
Right.
But it's that kind of expectation is a big thing to set for kids too, right? And especially like, so for instance, when we first moved out here, Hazel was adjusting to sleeping out here, right? And so she would wake up in a panic and not know where she was. And so she told us, she was like, my door's locked and I don't like it. And I was like, all right. And Rick and I looked at each other. We're like, well, we can take your baby lock off, but you have to promise you're going to stay in bed. Like, we'll come get you if you have a problem, but like, you have to stay in your room. And she was like, okay. And mind you guys, like the way that our house is set up is her bedroom is very close to the stairs. And so that was my big panic, is like, if she just wakes up and just decides to go downstairs, which most kids don't, but still the fear is there. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, it was like, we did it for 2, maybe 3 weeks. And she started crawling into bed with us at like 4 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, we literally have a new baby that's going to be here in 5 minutes. There's no possible way we can start this habit of our kids sleeping in bed with us when a newborn is on the way in September.
No one's going to be sleeping.
No one.
Yeah.
Like that video you sent me of the 17-month-old who was like kicking and screaming and thrashing and nursing all night long, I would die. For the record, we moved Hazel into her own bed at 3 months. Like we co-slept beforehand, like as far as she'd sleep in between me and Rick on the dockatop sometimes, or she would sleep in her bassinet next to us. Like she was in our bedroom, but until like once she was able to sleep on her own in her crib, whether it was first nap and then through the night, I was like, done with that shit. Like I'm just not doing it. And everyone sleeps better because of it. And
we did it at
4 months, right?
Well, we did naps in the daytime at 4 months.
Okay.
So daytime naps in the crib at 4 months, and then we did full night sleep training, the whole shebang at 5 months.
Are you glad you did it when you did?
Yes, because the philosophy we bought into was kids aren't ready to be night trained until they're about 5 months anyways, like truly night trained. So and like the whole American Pediatrics Association says you should room share. They shouldn't co-sleep. They don't believe in co-sleeping, but you should room share until they're like 9 months. And I was like, okay, that is not happening.
Yeah.
But I was like, if we can sleep train at 5 months, then the goal is, I'm not kidding. Hayli, December 10th is his birthday. So like whatever the month, on the 9th at midnight, I was like, sleep training
time. Yeah.
He turned like 5 months on like a Monday, and like Sunday night I was like, Brennan, I'm doing it.
It's happening.
And he was like, and I was like, it's happening.
I'm panic. We're like, wait a minit.
And I was like, no, I'm not waiting. He's literally 5 months in, 14 minutes.
It's happening.
I'm doing it. And he was like, okay. And I'm so glad I did. It was 6 days of hell. And then it's been 11 hours a night ever since.
It works. It's hard. It's hard in the process. And like, for those of you guys who are unfamiliar with sleep training and what it entails, like, it's not fun to listen to your kid cry ever, but
they're all different methods of cry it out. But the philosophy is you let them cry, and it teaches, like, you let them, give them the opportunity to learn how to self-soothe themselves, and they're never going to be able to do that if you're constantly, rocking them and picking them up and all this stuff. So, what we did was, it's called the pop-in method. So you pop in every 5, 10, and then 15 minutes onwards for the rest of the night, as long as it takes for them to fall asleep. So they don't feel abandoned. They don't feel alone. You're just not walking out and closing the door and letting them cry by themselves the whole night. You're in there every 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and 15 minutes. So they know that, mom and dad are still present, but they just, you got to let them figure it out. And it was 3 days he cried a lot, and then he had a 11-hour sleep, and we were like, oh my God, it's happening. And then he had one night where he regressed, and then night 6 and onward, it's been 11 hours ever since.
Yeah. And it stays that way. That's where Hazel's at, is around 11 hours a night. Every night.
It's amazing.
It's been so freaking nice. Like, we were supposed to talk about home organization.
I feel like
talking about babies.
I feel like we need to like caveat our podcast for the first hour.
We just talk.
It's just gonna be us shooting the shit,
and then eventually we get into that topic.
The second hour will be topic based.
But that's how a lot of podcasts do it too.
Yeah,
that's pretty normal.
I think we should officially brand.
I'm down.
First hour is
just us talking, and then
us chatting,
and then eventually we'll get to the
topic. There have been a lot of psychiatrists and psychologists who have looked into this, and there is literally no evidence that says letting your baby cry will cause trauma for them. Obviously, you're not. So the philosophy is like, if they have a dirty diaper, or if their foot gets caught in their crib, or if they have a physical need, you absolutely go in there and help them. 100%.
Of course.
But they're literally crying because they're frustrated that they can't fall asleep on their own. Right. So you're allowing them to learn the tools. It is a learned behavior. Babies don't just come out of the vagina and go, I know how to sleep. It's something they have to learn how to do. And it has everything to do with sleep cycles. So just like adults, you go through REM cycles, right? Where you're in deep sleep, light sleep, and medium sleep. Well, babies, when they're first born, when they're newborns, they only have 2 cycles. And then once they hit about 5 months, they hit a 3rd cycle. And so they need to figure out, because they will wake up in the middle of the night, they just need to figure out how to put themselves back to sleep. So it's all about that.
Yeah. It's all part of the process. It's funny how much you learn.
I know.
In doing things like this, because I remember I knew nothing about sleep cycles or anything remotely similar to that until we were going through sleep training. And then I was like, oh yeah, REM cycles. And that's how that works. And that's why I wake up. So if you guys didn't know, you wake up exhausted sometimes because if you didn't get enough sleep, you could also be waking up in the middle of a REM cycle. And then there's other times where if you wake up at like 2 a.m. and you're like, wow, I'm wide awake. It's because you woke up after a REM cycle. So it's interesting how your brain does all these things on the side.
I think the cycles are about 50 minutes for babies this age,
that makes sense.
Which is why an hour nap is perfect.
Yeah.
Because
full REM cycle.
They go for a full REM cycle, and then those 10 minutes, they're coming out of it, and they usually wake up super happy and excited and stuff like that. And if you let them sleep longer, so if you let them sleep for like an hour and a half, you're waking them up in the middle of a REM, and that's usually when they're so cranky and stuff like that. So.
And I'll tell you, this was also like, it's funny because I remember when Hazel wasn't napping and how miserable all of us were, like in that gap of like, what, 3 months that she just wouldn't nap. If you guys didn't know that, my daughter literally stopped napping, and all of us were like, is she done? She's not even 3. Don't tell me she's done. Kids are supposed to nap till they're 4. I can't be done. And now that she's back to napping, now that we got her on that schedule where she's waking up early enough that she's able to fall asleep during nap time, it's just made everyone so much happier. And she'll nap for a solid 2 hours, so 2 REM cycles, and it's like she wakes up a different human. Yeah. When kids are well rested, aside from the fact that it's good for them developmentally, oh my God, they just wake up completely different children. It's crazy. Like Hazel wakes up and is so sweet and is so affectionate and is so agreeable, and oh, let me do this, I'll help you with this, sure mommy, like, oh my God. And then if she's not ready or if she's exhausted, it's like, fuck you, mom. Yeah. Don't even speak to me or I will cut you. Like, she gets so angry. So I'm like, yeah, girlfriend definitely needs her sleep.
I feel like Brent and I are very spoiled. So anyone who's met Cohen, their immediate reaction is always, oh my God, you have the chillest baby. And I feel like the reason is because, one, Brent and I both work from home. We have a really great handoff schedule now where he's always got like one dedicated parent who's like on their shit with timing and scheduling and everything like that. So Cohen is very scheduled right now. Like he goes to bed, he has a nap every 2 to 3 hours because that's how long his wake window is at this age. And so he's just always well rested, and you can tell he never cries. He fusses only when he's like hungry or tired, and he lets you know that he's starting to go into that direction. And otherwise he's just a happy baby, right? And so everyone's like, why is he so cool? Why is he so chill? Why is he so whatever? And I really attribute it to us just being on top of his sleep schedule. And I'm like trying to imagine what life would be like if one, we weren't in a pandemic, right? Because that changed a lot. Like our needs to like go out and do things were like, you know, stifled in the beginning.
Yeah.
So we had more opportunity to really like nail it down, how to nap and all that stuff. And then again, we both work from home. We both have like our set. We don't have to like commute to work. We're not taking to daycare. There's not like all these, you know, external factors affecting whether or not he gets a nap right away when he's ready for it. And I just can't imagine like single moms are
heroes.
Like not even you or they're super people, super powered humans who deserve like literal trophies. Like I don't understand how someone could do it solo and on top of that multiples. Imagine having more than one kid and doing it by yourself. Insane. Yeah. Insane.
It's the book that I just finished reading is literally a single mom and she has 4 kids and I just would die. I don't know how you do it. Well, and it makes me wonder, like, especially you saying that about you and Brennan being home and being available. It makes me wonder if, like, with Hazel, so for those of you guys who don't know what my story is when I was the new mom with Hayes, she's almost 3 now. So this is 3 years ago. Like the way that we did it was my husband was working in operations, and operations, you typically have really long hours. He was literally working 10 to 12 hour days. And so
and really weird hours.
Like he'd literally get up at 3 o'clock in the morning for work. It was terrible. And so it would be where he was in the office and I would be on mom duty because we didn't use any form of childcare that early on. And so it was me and Hayes like from morning until 4, 5 o'clock. And it was really, really hard. Like it was hard on all of us. It was hard on me because I felt like a single parent.
Yeah.
Right. And then it was hard on my marriage because I wasn't seeing Rick enough. And like, you know, he was having a hard time because he was exhausted and he just wanted to come home and decompress. And so, you know, now that he's working from home and we don't know if this is going to be, you know, temporary or forever. But if, you know, if it consistently stays the way that it's at where, you know, our kids will have equal access to both of us, essentially, I'm curious to see if that will make any difference in baby brother and how he's raised, because Hazel, I think at her core is a mommy's girl. Mm-hmm. She loves Rick. She's obsessed with Rick to her core. But like when it comes down to it, at her like deep down, when she's in her like scared, like I'm scared or like those moments, it typically ends up being me. And so I don't know if that's because it was just she and I for so long.
I would imagine so.
Or if that's just like a genetic like connection because I grew her in my body and I nursed her. Or I don't know. But I think that there's definitely something to be said for the quality time that
I think it has
kids get with their parents.
To do with you being there more when she was younger, if I had to guess. Because right now, Coco's pretty split between us.
Really?
And like there are moments, and it mainly has to do with breastfeeding, where like there are things that calms him down if he's like, I mean, he's really rarely ever like that.
Yeah.
But mom does it better. But I mean, Brennan's on par with everything. Mm-hmm. So we'll see.
And so is Rick.
We'll see when he's a little bit older. Like
that's true.
When he like skins his knee, if he runs to me or he runs to Brennan.
Yeah, more. but it's true that like even I remember this exact example when we were going on a walk and Hazel skinned her knees. We fell and she skinned them hard. Like they scabbed over and everything. And it wasn't a straight bolt to me. Like Daddy picked her up, brushed her off, put her on his shoulders. We walked home and she was totally fine. Mm-hmm. So I think it like for the most part, there is a really good balance between like how Rick and I both parent. And it's nice too because I feel like this is generally speaking a pretty new concept, like for both parents to be as equally involved and equally on par. And when it comes down to it, representation in the household is really important.
Yeah, but do you think that's because of our personalities more than necessarily
society in general?
Society shifting?
That's a good question. Chat, do you guys, I'm curious to know if there are parents in here who have thoughts on that. If you guys are equal participants in your marriage as far as raising your babies?
I had a really interesting conversation with an old friend, and a lot, because like I'm older than you guys, like most of our friend group, by a lot, and then my friend, at least 6 years, and then my friends from my old life, they're like at least 2 to 3 years older than me.
Okay.
So they're all like on their second and third kids, you know?
Right.
And just, you know, hearing a lot of the dynamics, because I'm not really, you know, involved in those friend groups anymore. Hearing all the gossip about the dynamics was really interesting, because a lot of the couples that I thought would be more like us, more progressive in the sense of like equal parenting, ended up being way more traditional.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That is so interesting.
No.
Yeah, because I think it's important for not even just like participating in raising your kids, but also like the tasks that each parent like focuses on. So for instance, like I do almost exclusively all of the cooking in the house, and I do a large portion of the cleaning.
Is that better?
And so,
is that better? Sorry,
is it too loud?
My mic was a little weird.
That's okay.
I think I might have unplugged it a little.
Oh, okay. And so for me, like, it's important to remember that your kids are seeing this, right? Like your kids are watching and seeing, okay, mommy does the dishes, mommy does the cooking, daddy takes the trash out, daddy does this. And so like I always try and make it a point so that Hazel can see daddy doing the dishes and cooking a meal, and see me taking the trash out, and show that there's not these specific gender roles in the house that you are expected to learn how to do, especially because little girls, I can't speak for little boys because I don't know yet, but little girls, Miss Hayes is all about copying mommy. She wants to be just like mommy in every sense of the word. Hazel is the girliest little girl. She loves makeup. She loves doing my hair. She loves brushing my hair. She loves dolls. Like this morning I was vacuuming and I was sweeping or mopping. She went and she got her vacuum and she got her mop and she was doing it with me. And like we were cleaning the house together, and I love that she does that. But at the same time, I'm also like, I don't want it to be expected of you in the future in your relationship one day. Like I want you to do these things because it's the right thing to do in the house, and because it's how you take care of your home, regardless of whether you are like however you identify as, right? It's not a specific role that you have because you're female. Like I want you to do this because it's, hey, I have my own place and I want it to be clean and I want to live in a nice space.
So I think having Rick also participate is huge.
Yeah.
But I think how you raise baby number 2 is going to be a big indicator for that. So if baby number 2 has the same and equal responsibilities,
yes,
and baby boy is vacuuming with you and sweeping, and you're encouraging that,
we're all doing it together,
and you're praising that and whatever, then Hazel will grow up knowing that it's expected of them as well as her.
Yeah.
So
Rick's only job isn't taking. Here's the thing: we each have our own chores that we prefer to do, for sure. And for me, I love to cook. I really do. I would rather cook than do the dishes any single day of my life. And so that's naturally, I choose to cook more because I enjoy it, not because it's expected of me. And plus I've seen Rick's work in the kitchen. Okay. But trash, I personally hate taking out the trash. It's annoying. I have to go right now. There's no room in our garage to cook through the garage. We have to go all the way around to the backyard. I just rather Rick do that. Right. And he doesn't mind doing it. And so the respective roles that we automatically do in the house are the ones that make the most sense for us to do. Mm-hmm. And there's certain ones that we split, but generally speaking, like I'll do certain things because I prefer to do them chore wise. That being said, I still try and make it a point to have us each do. I'm sure, no, it's fine, Twinkle does, but I mean to have us each be doing a bit of everything so that we can see it really is a family effort to keep your house organized and clean.
Well, speaking of organization, this is a great
segue into our actual topic today.
So, life update. I decided that I am going to tackle Pantry Organization,
which I did not know until literally today. So I'm learning all of this with you guys.
Yes. So our pantry's a hot mess, super disaster. When we first moved in, I was like, oh, of course, this is something I'll get on right away. And then it just got pushed back down the list. And so then obviously we still have to eat food. So just shit started piling up in there. And now it's like the wild, wild west in my pantry. So I just kind of hit a limit and I was like, okay, I don't want it to look like this anymore. You know, we have a lot of friends over, and Lexi's in there trying to find like flour and stuff, and I'm like, I can't handle it anymore. So, I started researching all the stuff, and home organization has taken a huge front seat culturally in the last, I would say, like 2 or 3 years.
It really has.
To the point where there's actually a profession now where you can hire someone to come organize your house.
How new is that, would you say?
I mean, it's got to be within the last, like, I would say popular within the last 5 years. I think it's been around for a while for like really rich bougie people.
Yeah.
But now it's like a more affordable, it's separate from an interior decorator. So it's not, someone's not coming to like decor your house.
Yeah,
they're literally
to organize and clean and
It's closets, pantries, like drawers, dressers,
I will say I watched
bookcases.
a Marie Kondo's show on Netflix a couple years ago, and it changed my life.
Yeah.
It did.
So it's one of those things where unless you have the personality for it, like you're just very type A, very organized, you love sticky notes and flashcards, like unless that's just your default state, I feel like the majority of people are not naturally...
I know, organized people.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny because if you go on TikTok, some of the most viral clips are these videos of people like organizing their fridge, organizing their pantry, and it's like so satisfying to watch.
It's really aesthetically pleasing. It's one of those things. Sounds like you're talking to box. I wonder if it's because I'm too close.
I was just gonna say, are we too close? Is that why?
Is this better?
Let us know if that changes anything.
So like I think that it's one of those.
What are you about to do with those pliers?
I'm about to tighten it.
I'm like, she pulls out a whole ass tool.
Well, it's because it's really loose. Okay. So organization is one of those things where it's so incredibly aesthetically pleasing, and most people see it and they're like, wow, I love this. It's beautiful, but it takes so much work and effort because not only do you have to organize the thing that you're planning on organizing, you have to buy the things to organize it, and you have to donate all the stuff. There's a lot of purging involved where you have to like sit down and get rid of the shit you're not using anymore. So it's like really intensive. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of thought, and a lot whatever. And so most people just get really overwhelmed and they start the project and they don't usually end up finishing it.
I feel very seen right now with what Steph is saying. I'm in this conversation.
So now like introduce people, like, you know, people who have these natural type A personalities who are just really good at it in inherently, right? And they've made a career out of it where they come and they bring all their cute little, you know,
boxes
acrylic
containers.
And the whole philosophy for most of these organizers is if you have a place to put it, you'll start putting it in that place instead of shoving it, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I was like, do I really need 700 trays where I'm going to like put all these knickknacks in each individual tray? And the short answer is if you want to continue it, then yes, because you'll go, where do I put my stapler? Oh, I have a stapler tray. Where do I put my, you know, whatever? I know exactly where it is. I know exactly where to put it.
Yep.
So when I'm putting stuff away, I don't get overwhelmed, just shove everything in drawers. I'm like, okay, I know this has a home, right? Yeah. And so anyways, so the whole, I texted Hayli last week, obviously, is when we planned this episode. And
of course, last week, because we planned so far in advance.
And I was like, hey, like I'm doing this with the pantry. Would you like to talk about it on our podcast? And she's like, of course. And I was like, so the thought here is this, and I would love to hear your guys' feedback. Do you guys think there's actually merit to this? Or do you think this is just another form of capitalism? Because a lot of people are super gung-ho and on board with these philosophies, and like Marie Kondo and the Home Edit have made giant like businesses out of selling product,
branding.
Yeah, now they sell branded product that buys into their philosophy versus can you just do this with what you have? It just takes a lot of elbow grease and determination.
So it's funny you mentioned that. Do you follow Go Clean Co on Instagram? Mm-mm. I need you to get your phone out right now and I need you to follow this account. Okay. I'm not kidding. I found them and they are they've got like 1 million followers. They're based in Canada. And they're like a little bit of both. So their Instagram account is dedicated to exactly what you're talking about. Cleaning, making it super, like basically teaching you how to clean your house. Everything from cleaning out the filter in your washer or dryer to like cleaning out the stains on your sink. So like little things that you'd be like, I have no idea what to even do with this. So they teach you how to do it with all the elbow grease. They can say, go to get powdered Tide and use that and do it. But they also have their own brand of products that they sell, like bottles and labels and organizers and dish rags. And so they make both of it. So I think especially with social media being as prominent as it is and giving a platform to literally, I'm of the belief you can make anything a business. Truly. Like, look at us. Like, literally look at us. This is the perfect
Hayli.
fucking example. I'm just saying it. Like, we've managed to make a business out of talking about things like this, or like playing video games, or, you know, talking about different products that we like, or #ad, right?
Right.
But, you know, so I think that the fact that there are these companies that are doing it in a positive way to allow people to organize their life. I am inherently a very disorganized person. I try really, really hard, but it wasn't until Marie Kondo taught me how to fold my fucking pants that I figured out, oh, I can actually do this. And like, you go through and you, exactly what you're talking about, purge all of your shit. Even now, so chat, we just got our closet done.
Does it give you joy? Does it spark
Seriously,
joy?
seriously. And so we condensed a lot of our stuff in our closet. And so I had to purge a ton of, there's still so much more I have to purge. But you have to sit there and be like, do I want this? Do I wear this? Rick was giving me endless shit. He's like, you have so much garbage. Like, clean out your clothes. I haven't seen you wear any of this since I've known you. And I'm like, because it's overwhelming.
It is.
It's hard to do. So I think that these people are capitalizing on an opportunity to make an income, but also help people.
You need 30 little tiny acrylic boxes.
I personally don't, because I think that would overwhelm me even more. But at the same time, having a dedicated space for certain things, there's absolutely something to be said for that. Like, for sure. Especially like my jewelry tray is a perfect example. I got one with, did you order one for your closet? Good. It's really beautiful. And they have exactly what you're talking about. Like these tiny little squares that are dedicated for earrings and for rings and for necklaces and for bracelets, and just everything has a home.
Yeah.
And it's really nice to be able to pull that drawer out and be like, okay, I see everything.
Yeah.
So do I need them for things like staplers and markers and things like that? Maybe not, but maybe I'm just saying that because I don't know any different. Because I'm tight. Banana. Sneeze. Damn. I tried.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can't talk because I would say of the spectrum, I definitely fall into the consumerism, buy everything side.
You absolutely do. And I get to benefit from it because I'm taking all of her hand-me-downs once my baby's born.
I work really hard and I don't spend my money on stuff, in my mind, that's okay. Frivolous is
I
defined
knew that
different
word was coming. I
for
knew
everyone.
that word was coming.
But okay, so my mom is probably the most pragmatic person you will ever meet. So I was raised that, you know, you can reuse everything and you can definitely find like a better way to do everything, and you should do the most common sense, practical way, and logic based thinking for, you know, chores and everything is like king, right?
Sure.
So that's how I was raised. So for me, I don't really spend my money on like designer handbags or, you know, I think personally buying designer shoes is obscene because
I've never bought a pair
you
of
wear
shoes.
these on your feet. I have never owned like a white pair of sneakers that hasn't gotten scuffed or what. It's like, you know, your shoes are gonna get dirty. Like, why wouldn't you spend like $40 on a nice pair of shoes that you can replace like every couple, like every year or whatever, versus spending $6,000 on a pair of shoes that you will literally cry if they get ruined, so you only wear them once. You know what I mean? Like, that to me, I just don't really buy into that like luxury philosophy with certain things. But if it is a useful gadget or tool or something that will make my life easier in however big or small way, I'm like totally on board.
So it's funny you mentioned that. I had this conversation with my chat last week as we were talking about like making your house a home and how so it's very easy. Like, Rick's been giving me a ton of shit for this, right? So if you guys didn't know, we just moved out here like 2 months ago, And we sold our house back in Arizona, and Rick told me, he's like, I'm cool with you using some of the profits from the home to finish our new house. And I was like, fuck yeah, we're going in. And so I did. Like, we put money into the new closet. We're putting landscaping. We put in the blinds. Like, I'm buying decor for the home. And so today Rick was like, how have we already spent this much fucking money? And I was like, babe, it's part of the process. And it painful to do. It adds up so quick. It's really painful to do. It's painful to see your bank account dwindling in that sense. But to be fair, especially like, raise your hand if you work from home in chat. I feel like most of the hands are going to end up going up. If you are spending a significant amount of time in one space, it makes sense to make that space attractive. Like, if you're going to be in it 24/7, and I think Steph is the perfect example of this because she just redid her office and she fucking hated it in here until she made it beautiful. It's worth it to put the extra money into it to make it a space that you enjoy spending your time in.
Absolutely.
For sure. And so I'm of the belief that whether it's something that makes your life useful or makes your life easier, they say you spent, a third of your life sleeping, get a good mattress, you're on your feet all day, get a good pair of shoes, right? Dedicating that money to something useful or that will make your life easier is, in my opinion, worth every penny.
Yeah. I mean, that's what my mom literally, she goes, what I want to buy you for your housewarming gift, which I still haven't gotten, by the way, but she's like, oops, I want you to invest in a really nice set of serveware, like dishware.
Yeah.
Like, I want you to get matching dishes and small plates and bowls and the whole shebang.
Yeah.
I want you to go ham, get ones that you really like. That's what I would like to buy you. And I was like, well, I think I'm going to do like formal dishware for like when we have like Thanksgiving and stuff like that, people over, and then like the stuff I use every day. And she goes, no, I forbid it. She's like, use the nice stuff every day because she's like, you will enjoy cooking and eating and everything more if you pull out your nice plates and it makes you feel good to eat off of them. She's like, you don't need like shitty plates to use every day. And then you just have ones that sit in a sideboard for you, like whatever. She's like, what you should do is, she's like, and I'll help you, but like you should buy the same set twice so you have the extra plates ready.
Sure.
She's like, but buy ones that you really like.
But
buy ones that you use.
It depends on, like, because for me, for formal occasions like holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, like if I'm gonna buy plates for that purpose, they're gonna be like super fancy plates, right?
But what categories is a super fancy plate?
I don't know. I've never bought super fancy plates.
Exactly. I've looked into super fancy plates. They're like normal plates, just more expensive.
I really like
unless you're buying
cookware.
Specific Christmas themed plates that you only pull out on Christmas. Like
I have no issue with mine. Like my stuff, I would have no issue serving at Christmas.
Yeah.
My plates and my bowls and all that.
But do you have enough to serve 12 people?
Well, no, since the movers lost my box.
Did you have enough to serve 12 people?
No, Steph, I didn't.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not one that buys into like fine china belief. I don't have like silver or like those utensils that you need to polish. Like I want nice plates that I have like set of 6 that just are my everyday plates. And then I have an extra set of 6 in the same style so that when I have 12 people over, I can have a full set for everyone.
Well, looks like I'm going to Target after stream today, chat, because that's where I bought all of my dinnerware from. Oh no, I have to go to Target again. Rough life. I like that mentality.
Yeah.
Though.
And then she's like, and here's the thing. If you break one or whatever, you like have, spares. I don't know. That was her idea. And I was like, okay, I can see that. But yeah, so I don't know.
I think it makes sense in a lot of ways.
And it helps with organization too, because you don't have to store 12 plates in your kitchen and then 12 plates in your sideboard. And then you have this, that, and the other. So simplifying your life, I think just having one set that you really love and that you'd be happy to serve on a big scale, and you just have backups and extras and whatever, I think makes a lot of sense.
How do you feel about the minimalist mentality? Because I feel like that kind of factors into what you're saying.
Sure. I think I like the philosophy to an extent.
Okay.
I don't necessarily, okay. I think it's really a hard philosophy to continuously live by unless you, again, have that type A personality where you're interested and willing to purge once a month, because you really have to, right?
You have to keep up with it.
You do have to keep up with it.
Piles up,
it
especially
does.
with kids. Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It's really hard.
Well, and I know that like Mrs. Dr. Lupo and Sam, they have a minimalist podcast where they talk about a lot of things. And I vibe with a lot of it in the sense that you don't need to have a bunch of stuff.
For sure.
So Sam, Dr. Lupo's wife, was going through her like cabinet, like her Harry Potter room basically, and that's where they keep all their Christmas stuff. And she showed on her Instagram stories, she was like, this is my Christmas stuff. And it was like a shelf. And she's like, you don't need to have a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And she's like, everything is kept here. We pull it out for the holidays. I shouldn't say one shelf. It was like one unit. Whereas my garage is like just covered. It's like Christmas in my garage right now. So I think that there's something to be said for that and having like a certain like limit to what you keep and what you don't. So like the perfect example is yesterday, we went to the vet because Josie's sick. And the vet came out, I was with Hazel, and she was like, oh, well, I might have like a sticker for you. I was like, oh, cool, sticker, thank you. She goes back, comes back out, and is like, hey, so I didn't have any stickers, but I have this magnet, and I have a coloring book. And it was like it was like a Halloween coloring book. And it was a nice gesture, but in my head, I'm like, I'm not fucking keeping this shit. Like, it's just going to be one more thing to add to my house. It's going in the, like, Hazel's not going to play with it. And so those kinds of things, it's easy to accumulate a lot of those things. And you're like, where did all of this come from? And clothes, dude. I really, have you ever tried selling your clothes?
No.
Like on Poshmark
I have no
or
interest.
any of those apps?
It's really, that would make, it's much easier for me to purge if I literally go in there and I go, no, and it's all in a bag and I drop it off.
Goodwill.
Yes,
Yeah,
I get well.
I know.
The thought of like having to post pictures and then follow up with sales and then ship it out, like I just won't do it. It won't ever happen. It would just stay in my closet forever.
So I'm in this weird in between where I have a lot of clothes that I know I'm not going to wear them again. Like especially nice clothes. During my pageant days, I have like 6 evening gowns, cocktail dresses, like stuff that I just know I'm never going to wear again. But it's hard for me to part with them because I've spent so much fucking money on them. Yeah. And so in my head, I'm like, I'd really like to sell this. Like this is something that I know someone somewhere would buy, even if it's only like $40 or $50, right? It's something just so I know. And so, but then again, just like you said, the effort of taking pictures and listing it and shipping it is so daunting that I freeze. And then it just stays in my closet and nothing, it just doesn't leave. Nope. Like there's so many things in my closet like that I'm like, I know I should try and do something with this, but I just fucking don't.
So the philosophy that Brendan and I, and especially moving, you realize very quickly how much shit you have. And then when you move into the new house and everything's not out of boxes yet, so you're living the minimal lifestyle because you've only unpacked the stuff that you really need. You're like, oh, it's so nice.
Rick's like, just throw everything out. Just throw everything out.
Exactly. And
oh my God, Sam, we were just talking about you. Are your ears burning? That's the phrase, right? Ears ringing, burning, ringing. I thought it was burning. Burning? Ears burning? Ringing? Both, maybe? Are they on fire?
So the philosophy that I've been like preaching with Brennan recently with our new house and stuff like that is one in, one out.
Yeah, so that's a great philosophy.
You buy a new shirt or you buy a new pair of shoes.
Get rid of a pair of shoes.
And you go into your closet and you go, I don't wear this anymore. One in, one out. And I feel like if we can actually maintain that,
it's gonna be huge.
It'll be a lot easier.
Oh, I want that lifestyle so bad. Yes, we're talking about home organization, and so I mentioned you and other Sam, and I was like, they have this podcast where they talk about minimalism and like purging your life and cleaning it out and using only what you need. And I was like, I love that mentality, and it's really inspiring. But basically just the trips along the way, we were like, oof. Yeah. Like I can't bring myself to do this. But overall, like I have Steph, I can't tell you how many garbage bags, like full on garbage bags
in my hallway
that are just all waiting to go to Goodwill.
Let's go today.
Do you want to go today? Yes. Oh my God, Goodwill trip. I'm so excited. Fuck yeah. Dude, I'm serious. I'm not kidding. It's like there's one in the hallway and there's one in my bedroom and there's 2 in the upstairs hallway and one by the kennel. And I'm like, I'm gonna scream. I need to get this out of my house. Yeah.
So Sam, just like a quick catch up. I kind of hit that point with my pantry in our kitchen, and I was just like, I can't. It's a disaster. I can't find anything.
Full reorganize her pantry today.
I ordered a bunch of stuff. I'm doing I'm not reorganizing. I'm organizing my pantry. But you know, for me, I get really hyped on like trend stuff. So like my bookcase is color coordinated. It's a rainbow bookcase instead of like just by author and stuff like that. And for me, if something's aesthetically pleasing, I am 10 times more likely to keep it up.
Pinterest.
Yeah. And so the conversation started with is, you know, how does chat feel about like these new companies that are cropping up, like Marie Kondo, and then her philosophy being tied to merchandise?
Literally, look what she just said. Organizing and purging would be a dream job.
Would you like to come up to the Pacific Northwest?
I mean, girl, we will literally have you. We've got 2 houses ready for you. Seriously.
Yes. And so, you know, do you buy into like the consumerism, capitalism side of things where like the home edit, you know, great philosophy. They have this whole business where you hire them and they come make your dream closet, but it's all about organizations. But then, you know, part of it is they sell their product, right? Like, oh, look at our fridges. They're so beautiful. All the fruit has its own spots and all of the sodas are perfectly lined up in their wine racks and blah, blah, blah. And you're just like, do I need all of that shit to like actually get there? Or do I just need to like be an adult and buckle down? Because I'm 33 at this point and I've tried to be an adult and buckle down and it's not working so well for me. So for this Pantry Organization, I kind of went all in, and the Container Store should give me VIP access because I just spent a shit ton of money to get all these like cute little like baskets and trays and organizers and stuff like that to put like, you know, my cereal in cereal containers and my da-da-da. So, you know.
It's so interesting. So, Sam, I did not know that you didn't like the home edit. I do not like the home edit either, personally. Wait, didn't we try watching that together? Was that you that was with me?
Yeah, I watched one episode and I was like,
Reese Witherspoon, right? So we watched
and they were like,
the whole episode was just them squealing over Reese Witherspoon. Nothing actually really got done. It was like maybe 10 minutes of organizing. And at the end, we were kind of like, okay. Yeah, but you see, like, that's such a good point. She goes, that's an organized life, not a minimalist life. And it's like, I would love to find a balance between the two where I have a minimalist life where I don't need a bunch of things, but they all still have a home, like a place to live. Like this is where the stapler goes, right? Those kinds of things help me a lot to keep my sanity. And I find that as I've gotten older and my life has progressed, I would prefer. My bedroom's a perfect example. I've told my chat this for weeks. I'm like, no one with eyes is allowed in my bedroom. No one. Because it literally looks like a bomb went off. There are clothes everywhere because we got rid of our dresser and our closet still is not finished. And so there's just been clothes everywhere. And so in turn, I'm like, I can't be in here. I literally can't be in here. I will sleep in my bedroom and I will change and I will leave. I will be in any other part of the house.
Yeah.
I would so much rather be in a space that is done and clean, and that's where I'll spend more of my time. And so like the first part of the house that we finished was the patio. And so the only thing left to do is hang the string lights. But I find myself hanging out on the patio because it's really nice out there and it's clean and I don't have to worry about being in a tornado in a war zone of clothes.
This is so funny you say that because we were spending like the majority of our time in the bonus room.
Yeah.
Especially with like Cohen and everything. And we moved. So all this furniture was actually bonus room furniture. And it wasn't working for the dual. We were going to use that room as like a TV room plus a kid's playroom. And it was just too much furniture to like accommodate what we need for Cohen's stuff. Cause like kids' toys are just huge and bulky and there's a million of them. So we took this furniture out. I said, this is perfect for my background. I love it. And we just have like a very simple like TV entertainment that we're mounting to the wall and that's it. And then the rest of it can be like, it just clears a lot more floor space. But we emptied all of this and this had accumulated so much crap. And so now that crap is just on the floor.
Oh no.
And so now I just don't go in the bonus room anymore. And Brendan's like, you know, this morning I literally said it to him. He's like, you want to go, or last night, sorry. He's like, you want to go watch a movie in the bonus room? And I was like, no, I don't want to be in there. Like, can we just watch it in the living room? He's like, but we changed the seating.
Yeah.
He's like, it's hard to watch shows down there now. And I was like, yeah, but it's just like chaos. It's like a bomb exploded in here. I don't want to be in that room.
Yep. And that's why it's so important, like kind of what we were talking about earlier, how it's important to make the spaces that you're spending the most time in enjoyable.
Yeah.
For sure.
So are you?
Oh, hi, Auntie Steph. Hi, Mommy from Miss Hayes.
Aww.
Hi, Miss Hayes. Miss Hayes is apparently watching our podcast now.
He probably has it on the TV.
On the TV. Hi, sweetie.
So here's my question to you. What's more important? Like buying into a philosophy that fits your personal needs and lifestyle over like, okay, wait, hold on.
Over trend?
Hold on. How am I phrasing this? Buy into something that actually works versus buying into a philosophy. Like, say you really love the idea personally in your heart of minimalist lifestyle, but you're never gonna get there realistically. But if you did an organized lifestyle, even though you're buying all that shit and you probably don't need it, you'll actually use it and your life will be better. Is it better to try to hit a philosophy, or is it better just to like do what works for you?
I think it's better to do what works for you, but I think that the idea of minimalism is really difficult, if not impossible, to maintain with an infant. Not necessarily with toddlers. I mean, even with toddlers though, right? Like you can do it with kids of a certain age, but I think when they're below a certain age, unless you have ample space in your home, then there's only so much minimalism that you can really do, because kids just have stuff, right? Whether it's like, you know, explaining, I would have no problem getting rid of nearly all of Hazel's shit. I would have no issue with it.
Yeah.
But she would struggle with that. She's like, where's my this and where's my this? And I don't want to just take her stuff, right? And so having that conversation with a toddler who understands this is mine, why are you taking it, but doesn't understand. Like, and we've talked to her about donating and giving away things to people who need them, and, you know, recycling our things that we no longer need. And so those, I think, are important lessons to teach your kids.
Do you think you can teach a toddler one in, one out?
I feel like yes.
Like, hey, Miss Hayes, if you want this puppy dog, then we need to find a new home for one of your other toys. There's a kid who doesn't have.
I really like that.
You know, have whatever. And so if you want puppy dog to come home, we have to find one of your toys to give to another kid who doesn't have a toy.
I love that. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk to her about that. If she's still watching this, and maybe she's listening right now. There's an episode of Bluey about it. That's great to teach. I love that. I think she's absolutely capable of understanding that. There's
especially
no
at this age. She's so smart. She would probably.
Well, and not only that, but I think like she's also so good at sharing. Even without like us asking her to do things, she'll just offer us things, and she'll be like, want to get with when she was with Aria, right? Like they did so great. And so that mentality of already being willing to part with your things in order to make other people happy, I think is the biggest hurdle. And I think that she's already crossed that hurdle. So understanding, okay, we can give this to somebody else who could use it. I'm excited. I'm excited to go talk to her about it now.
Yeah.
I think she's going to do great with it, because she does have a lot of stuff. And especially, like, half of it's not even in the house right now. It's still in the garage.
See, I'm someone who definitely buys into purchasing things that makes my life easier. So we bought the snoo. We bought the, you know, Mama was a gift, but blah, blah, blah. We have all of like the gadgets. I'm a big gadget fan, but I did not buy a ton of other stuff because my niece, Evelyn, my sister-in-law, was like, take ours, use ours. And I was like, absolutely. So I'd already planned, like, because again, everyone in my life was like, your kid will literally use this for a day, like a month. Like, it's just not worth buying your own version because they're going to be in and out of it so quickly. And it's true. We've used like every kid's different too. So the Mamaroo might have been like a godsend for Hazel.
Yeah.
Cohen did not give two shits about it. Yeah. He'd be in it for about 65 seconds.
We literally kept our Mamaroo. So it was actually a gift from Teresa. I don't know if you're still here, but it was a gift from Teresa when I first got pregnant, and we've kept it ever since because I was like, I know I'm going to use this with baby number 2 because Hazel loved it. But it's true. Some kids just don't.
He just was not interested.
Yeah.
He'd like it for like a second, and we have a couple videos where he's like vibing in it, but like for the most part, you put him in, he's like, I don't want to be in here, and he'll start crying. He's much more into tummy time and crawling and he's very active and adventurous on his own. So he likes to be able to do stuff versus just being strapped down and like moving. He's just not into it.
Yeah.
So
it's true. I mean, and again, it's when you put your money into things that make your life easier, that's when it makes sense. And look at us, we're doing the same thing. Like, you're passing along some of those things for me to borrow, and then vice versa. Like, if there's another kid that shows up, if you have a second baby, then it goes like it's a reusable situation where, and that's also just good for the environment too, to not be going and buying a bunch of shit. And I was struggling too, because so if you guys don't know, my baby shower is coming up in a month, and I was making the registry, and I was struggling because I'm like, God, first of all, what do I need? I haven't had a baby in so long. Like, I don't remember what I need. And so I asked you, and you were giving me some things, and I'm like, I remember what it was like when I first had Hazel. And I remember there were so many things that I just didn't use that were just brand new and chilling in her closet. And so I tried to be like cognizant of that as I was making the list. But even same thing with Hazel's birthday list, right? So we're doing like her birthday party the same weekend. And I was making like she's 3, people want to give her presents. Like it's an actual birthday party now. Yeah. And I'm like, well, she wants to have presents. Of course, she's a kid. But like, I'm going through the list and I'm like, does she really need this? Like, does she need another one of these? Does she really need to have this?
Yeah.
And so it makes it difficult to find that balance of, you know, we want to spoil our kids. We want to give them the world. But at the same time, how do we walk that line of, okay, you really don't need another toy or another stuffed animal or another this?
I think you're just a lot nicer than I am.
In what way?
I think I'm just going to purge a lot of my kids' stuff.
Well, and
like you care about feelings and stuff like that. And obviously I do to an extent too, but I'm just going to get rid of a lot of stuff.
And I've gotten rid of some. Like there were certain, so one of the garbage bags has definitely got some stuff in it that Hazel's like, that's mine. But she hasn't looked at it in a year. So I'm like, right. Is it though? Is it yours? It's more the things that she has a lot of and she sees them frequently, even if she doesn't interact with them frequently, she knows that they're theirs. I'm really curious. I'm going to report back next week to see
how one went out.
Yeah. Cause I think she's going to do great with it.
Yeah. Especially I think if Hazel's also really like, she loves the idea of like helping other people and stuff like that. So I think if you explain to her where it's going, it's not just, oh my gosh, my things are disappearing. You're saying like, hey, honey, you don't use this that much anymore. And I know some kids going to like really love it because they've never had one before. They've never had a broom before. Yeah. Can you imagine not having a broom? What if we give this broom to another little kid and they love it? Would you like to do that? And she says, yeah, I'd love to give another kid a broom. Like, I feel like if you give them the option to share something like that, in the sense that it's not like she wakes up one day and she's like, where's my broom? Right. It's like, oh, I know some kids loves this. And then someone asks, she goes, Mommy, where's my broom? And you go, do you remember some you gave it to a little kid who's going to enjoy it and he's probably using it right now. And she's like, oh yeah. You know, I think she'd be really into that. I hope that's the reaction. It is. It's true. It's all about how you frame it. That's really, really important. Like if you put it in a way that instead of just saying like, sorry, it's gone, like that, then that's different. But and especially like I really, again, we'll see how it goes. I might just be like completely talking on my ass, but my goal is to start one in, one out very young. So he's just used to it. Yeah, so I wish I'd started this earlier. So it's not like a surprise, right? So we go to the store and he picks something off the shelf. He's like, Mommy, I really want this. Like my answer is going to be, okay, sweetheart. But when we get home, we have to donate a toy. You know, if you want this, when we get home, you have to donate a toy. I like that. Also, that's a really good question. So Jolly Devil said, I have a roommate that's sorry. Or it doesn't help clean or anything. I don't like leaving the room because of that. But my room is a wreck because of this. Is the only space I can keep any of my stuff. So it looks like a bomb went off. Any tips? I feel like that's an important conversation you need to have with your roommate. Yeah. If it's making it to the point where you have to stay in your one space. But like, I also think that just doing the things that we've talked about today and going through and saying, okay, do I really need this? Will I actually use this? Having a dedicated space to certain things, even if it's just getting bins or baskets to put certain things. Like if you're like, okay, I have a bunch of, I don't know, like let's say you've got clothes everywhere, but you don't have the closet space for it. Like cleaning out your closet and getting proper hangers, the thin hangers, you can fit more of your clothes, or like baskets for jeans or for laundry or whatever. Like baskets make a big difference. I'm a big believer in baskets. Well, that's really interesting you say that. So a lot of people aren't necessarily inherently messy. A lot of people have like ADHD and stuff like that. And so it's not that you're a messy person. It's the amount of steps it takes to get your clothes out of the dryer and folded and into a drawer actually like overwhelms people and shuts their brain off. My laundry's been in the washer for 30 minutes according to my phone. So I brought Brennan this book and it says Organizing with ADHD, and we were rifling through it. And like I gave it to him on stream and his stream was like roasting him. And I was like, no, you guys don't understand. I'm not doing this to be mean. I'm doing this because I care. And I think this will really help him and make his life so much simpler. And then in turn make my life simpler too. And like the whole philosophy of that book is like cut out as many steps as you can. If you have to buy bins and your goal is to get it out of the dryer and you throw t-shirts in one bin, jeans in one bin, and whatever, even if it's not folded, your stuff is organized. It's in the bin it needs to be. You know where your jeans are. You know where you know where your stuff is. And so if you simplify the process, then you're more likely to do it, and you don't get a lot of ADHD people. They literally, their brain shuts down when they get overwhelmed and they can't continue the to-do list because they're just like, they freeze.
Yes.
And so being able to have something be super direct, straightforward, and simple allows them to get through the list faster.
I also think, because I know some people in chat are talking about ADHD, guys, so I feel like it's so much more common than people realize. I think most people have no idea, and then they are like, ADHD, I've heard of that. And then they look into it and they're like, oh my God, this is me on paper.
Yeah.
That's literally how it's, so Rick and Brennan both have ADHD. They both do. And they both take medication for it and they manage it. And it's like, they both have become, I don't want to speak for Brennan, but Rick has become a completely different person since he's been on his medication for it. So I think that simplifying the process is a great starting point. And like, even if it is just getting bins and you've got, exactly like you said, a place for your jeans and a place for your shirts, even if they're not folded, that's a great first step. That's such a great first step. And then you can maybe take the next step eventually.
But the difference is either it sits in a hamper and then you're just pulling clothes out of it and wearing it out of the hamper, or like I mean, it's the same, right?
Yeah. But at least you've got a dedicated space for it.
Yes, because it never actually stays in the hamper because the hamper's not organized. So you're pulling out stuff to find the jeans, right? And so then you have stuff on your floor and you have stuff on your bed and you have stuff wherever, and then you just maybe pick it back up and throw it back in the hamper. But realistically, again, even if it's not folded, if you have a jeans bin and you're just throwing all your jeans in one bin, you don't have to pull all the rest of the shit out.
I think the biggest thing is having dedicated spaces for everything.
Definitely.
Even if it's not like to the point of like the little mini acrylic things we were talking about. If it's just like a general, hey, this is where my jeans go, or this is where my shirts go, and then you get to the point where you're comfortable with that and you're like, okay, I know I can count on myself to put all my jeans right here whenever I do the laundry. And then you're like, okay, but I'm looking for this specific pair of jeans and I can't find them. And then if that's something you're like, okay, I can tackle that next, I feel confident enough to tackle that, then you can move on to saying, okay, maybe I get a shelf and I stack them so I can see where they are. Pant hangers.
Yes. But here's the follow-up though to that is, I think the thing that people struggle the most with organization is clutter. So it's knick-knacky stuff, right?
For sure.
Because obviously your jeans, you have a closet or a dresser, duh. But like, where do you put your push pins, and where do you put your million pencils, or where do you put shit like this? Your command strips, and where do you put your tools? Everyone has a million tools around the house, and like, so it's stuff like that, stuff that ends up just being shoved in drawers, and then you have a junk drawer, and then you have two junk drawers, and then you have 4 junk drawers, and then you have 7 junk drawers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the issue. That's where my brain goes, well, is it worth having 300 tiny acrylic things so that, my push pins have its own acrylic little thing, so when I'm fucking just, instead of shoving everything into a drawer, I go, where does this go? Oh, I have a space for it. Where does
the problem is that you accumulate a lot of those over time to the point where not everything is going to have a dedicated space. Like you might have 40 of these acrylic little slots, but then if you go get, another little knick-knacky thing, there's not going to be an acrylic spot for it. And then what?
And then you purge. I don't know.
You know what I mean? But if those are essential everyday things that you're like, well, no, I use command strips. I'll use them somewhere around the house. I know that I'll take advantage of this. It makes it harder to justify just getting rid of it if you're something like, this is something that I know I'll get use out of.
Right.
Because it's not just clutter at that point. It's something that, even though it looks like clutter, you do need push pins for things. You do need command strips for things. So that makes sense.
Right.
So that's more of a fine line to walk.
So instead of like having a baby acrylic box for each individual one, maybe you have one box for, office supplies.
Yes, which is what I do.
Yeah.
That's what. So I have my bookshelves. So in my office, for those of you who haven't seen it, I have these 3 Billy bookshelves. You don't have them in here, but Steph has some too. And it's got all my books on it, but it also has my office supplies. And so I have these little bins that actually one of my viewers got me years ago. It's Harry Potter themed, so it matches perfectly with the decor. And that's where I put like my highlighters, my pens, my tape, my stapler, like all the office things that I need are in this little bucket that fits in with my decor. That honestly, and I kept those for so long, and I was like, I will find use for these one day. I don't know when. And I finally have, and I'm so glad that I did because it works. It's efficient, and it actually looks like it matches everything.
You know what? Michael's And like craft stores like that sell the cutest little boxes.
Do they?
Yeah.
Well, and also I think it's a Marie Kondo thing too, to take, you don't even have to go out and buy little boxes. If you just like take like, you know, once this candle's burnt out and it's completely gone, you rinse it out and then you use it as a jar to put things. Yep. Like reusing things like that is also a great tip if you guys are like looking for things that are around the house and ways to become efficient now, like right now. You don't have to go and buy a bunch of shit to do it. Because I think that there is an ability to be able to organize and do it in a way without spending a shit ton of money or making it this whole big investment.
Or, I mean, even going thrift store, like someone mentioned thrift shopping. Like there's a lot of consignment stores that you can find bins and, you know, baskets and stuff like that you can use to organize stuff. It's just like, for me, it really is an aesthetically, I will buy in. I'm sorry. If you're still here, Sam, please don't hate me, but I am totally on that spectrum where I will buy the 50,000 baby bins and big bins and matching whatever
but that fits your lifestyle.
Yes, because I will not do it. And I'm 33. I've tried to be and I will. I get into these mindsets where like I'm like, the line was crossed and I will for 16 hours floor to ceiling just put everything away, and it's flawless and it's perfect, and my house is perfectly organized, and it will last about a week and a half, 2 weeks, and then it's just shits everywhere again, because I don't have that natural.
I think that's common though, because I'm the same way when it comes to, like, for instance, this morning, Hazel and I vacuumed the floors, we mopped the floors, and I looked around and I was like, there's so much to do. Like, there's so much stuff that's sitting on the island, and there's still dishes in the sink. And,
but you're moving still.
Yeah,
though.
but at the same time, even when we were back in Arizona and we had our life figured out, it was exactly what you said. I would go hard. Do you know what resetting is? So resetting is essentially, I'm really sad Sam's not here anymore because she would go hard on this. Resetting is basically like, you see a place and there's shit everywhere, right? Like, let's say the bonus room, for example. And you're like, okay, I know that everything in here has a home. It's just not in its home right now.
Right.
And you can literally take things, grab them, put them in the bins they go in, and within like 5 minutes, it's brand spanking new.
Right.
And so,
but you need the bins.
You need to have bins. It's not even just bins. You need to have a dedicated space to wherever it lives.
Sure.
And so whether that's like for Cohen's playroom, right? Like which
is why I want the Trofast, right? I just want the, and then you just, cars going one, dolls going one, cubes 100%. Going one, and you just.
It makes it so much easier to maintain, and just to know, like, okay, even if it looks like shit, I know because everything in here has a dedicated space, I can clean this space up in a matter of minutes.
Yes.
And then your life is automatically like,
right.
You can exhale because it's more manageable that way. Girl, I'm excited for Goodwill. I'm excited. Like, we're talking about this and I'm hyping us up right now.
Dude, we might have to take a trip to the Container Store too while we're at it.
Girl. The issue for me with this new house is that, like, even though it's got a lot of really awesome features to it, there isn't a lot of storage space. And so I find myself having to become more minimalist, especially in the closet, because I didn't want a dresser and I wanted to keep, we specifically designed the closet to be so we wouldn't need one.
Right.
And so my old closet was just mine. Rick did not have anything in there. And now all of his things are in there.
Right.
So and that's fine. We can make that work, but it is going to require me to purge a lot more of my things, which I should really be doing regardless.
Right.
So I think once I find a dedicated home for a lot of like just specific things, I will fucking join you at the Container Store. I need to figure out the first step of like, okay, these items will be in the laundry room, and these items will be in the bonus closet downstairs, and these items will be in the other bathroom closet, like linens and towels. And
so the one, if I could redesign this house, I'd do 2 things.
What?
3 things.
Okay.
1, I would give us a bigger garage.
Yeah.
Our garage, it's wide. It's really wide, but it's not deep enough. Like, I wish I could park my car in the garage and at the end of it still have enough room for like shelves and everything like that. It's only long enough to park the car.
Yeah.
And then the garage door, like, it's like that, like,
that's
there's like
the
a little
space.
bit. That's it,
Yeah.
you know? And so now, like, I wanted to park our cars in the garage always, because when it gets hot here, and you have a baby now, and you don't want to sit there and turn the AC on and all that stuff. So, like, having the car in the garage, it's more temperature regulated, you know? But I don't know if we're going to be able to do that. And then the other thing is I would add an extra bedroom so that I would have a dedicated office space, because I'm going to have to
Once you have another baby.
Yes.
Yeah.
Once baby 2 comes, I'm gonna have to sacrifice my space and figure out another place to put my setup in the house.
That's what I had to do.
Which is frustrating, but we'll get through it. We have enough space. We'll make it work. And then the third thing is I have no linen closet on the second floor. Yeah. So Brenna and I were like, where do we put, I can put towels for us in our master, and the Jack and Jill has a linen closet.
Yeah.
But there's no like linen closet for like blankets and extra pillows, and like, we have a guest, but the guest space is downstairs, which has some, I don't know, but it was something that became glaringly obvious where we were like, where do we put our
We had a linen closet
stuff
in Arizona, and we don't have one in this house,
Yeah.
and we can tell. We feel it.
Yeah.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
So you would extra room, linen closet, and bigger garage.
Those are the 3 changes I would make. And it's sad because it's like, this is our first time building, right?
Mm-hmm.
And usually when you buy, you just make it work however you
Right.
can. But when you're building, you're like,
I wish I'd done that. I wish I'd thought of that. See, but I didn't even have that option.
Yeah.
Like our builder was not. There's no baby number 2 on the way yet with Steph, y'all. We're just casually talking theoretically.
Future.
Don't get any thoughts.
Future plans.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't get your hopes up.
Have absolute plans for 2 if we're, able to, but not for a while, like another year.
Don't get all
year and a half.
excited, chat. But yeah, we didn't have even the option to have all these extra features in the house. So that made it a little bit easier to not get sucked into that hole.
Right.
But at the same time, those things really do sound nice. I wish we had a linen closet. I don't even know where it would go in the floor plan.
Well, you could organize the closet in your laundry room and make half of it linen.
That's
half
what
of
I'm
it,
doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to have to, especially because we're going to take down the wire rack that's in the laundry room, and the carpenter that I told you about, I'm going to have him build the shelves and make it look pretty. And right now it's just, I go in my laundry room to do laundry, and I'm out the second I can be out because it's just really chaotic. There. So once I can make it a better space to be in, it'll be a little bit easier. But I haven't even mounted the vacuum in there because I'm like, we're not going to talk about my laundry room because it's going to stress me out. But there's options, and we'll make it work.
That's why I put an outlet in my pantry so I can mount my vacuum in my pantry.
I wish I'd known. I wish I'd had that option. That's where I want to put it, is in the pantry.
I had it was like we were doing the walkthrough, and I had this like coming to Jesus moment, and I was like, put an outlet, and they were like, in your pantry? And I was like, yes. And he was like, are you sure? And I was like, yes. And that's the other thing. We have a butler's pantry, so there are outlets like on the butler side.
Yeah, but you don't want your vacuum hanging there.
And but like our hanging vacuum is for our hardwood floors.
Right. I need to see if there's an outlet in the garage by the door, because that would be another great option for it. I don't know if there is, though. That's another thing I would do. I would add more outlets to the house if they would let me.
I added as many as I could. But I wish I had one by I guess it makes sense. But there's no outlets by my standalone tub.
Oh, so like for your phone and stuff?
But I get it that you don't want like electronics. Maybe that's why they did it. But like I have a towel warmer, right? I can't even put the towel warmer by the bathtub.
Yeah.
So it's like all across the
other side. So like,
side.
what's the point?
I can't even put it near my shower. So like, if I want a warm towel, I have to walk naked across to go get the warm towel. And I'm guessing that it'd already be cold by the time you took it out. Just doesn't
before
make sense
your shower. Or your
that you don't have an outlet over there. Like I get it. Maybe it's like a safety hazard.
It's a safety hazard for sure. That's got to be the reason. I can't think of any other reason.
I bought the towel warmer for Cohen. It was not originally for me. Just so you know.
That's why I was laughing too. I'm like, that's the most extra.
They're not that expensive. They're like $50 and it makes a huge difference. Babies hate being cold.
For babies, I understand.
And especially when they're like really like fresh out the vagina, like you give them a bath and they're instantly cold.
Yeah.
And so to have a really warm towel to put your baby in was awesome. Cohen loved it. So
yeah, that's a good point.
We still use it for him.
Do you?
Yeah.
How are you going to transition out of that? Is he going to hate being out of bath time if he doesn't have a warm towel?
No.
Yeah, I guess I hadn't really thought about that. I've never seen a towel warmer. I never knew that was like a baby option.
It's a tiny little bin. It's like a bin. It's literally like this tall.
Really?
Yeah, and you just plug it into any outlet and you stick the towel and like the outside warms up and they're just like little fluffy warm towels.
How long does it take to warm it?
15 minutes total, but I pull it out after like 5-6 minutes and it's just warm
enough.
Yeah.
I kind of want to try it. I kind of want to try it now. All right. How long do we have?
I think we should probably wrap.
It's 1.
Yeah.
I'm hungry.
I'm hot. It's hot in here.
It is hot in here. I wonder how Hazel is.
Well, we can go
Haven't heard a damn thing.
No
She's
peep.
probably just chilling.
I know.
She said hi to us in the podcast earlier, but that's it.
I know.
Selling us warm towels. Any suggestions on my long comment up there? I don't know that I saw it. Let me take a look really quick. Sounds like you need new roommates, dude. How do I? Oh, wrong mouse. See if we can scroll up and find it.
You just click. You don't know this?
You can just double click a name and it'll bring you to their last comment.
And then you go chat messages.
Wow!
Yeah.
I just learned a new feature. Professional streamer.
He's moving soon and is using that as an excuse not to get
My girlfriend pays all the bills, but the lease is in his names. So it sounds like you just have a shitty roommate and you can't get rid of him. Oh, my girlfriend and daughter are here as well. The 3 of us have to stay in the same room, and our roommate doesn't use his room at all. He sleeps in the living room and won't even consider cleaning his room out so the little girl can have her own room. He doesn't want people in the living room while he's... Yeah, you need a new roommate. You need a new roommate. For sure.
Yeah.
You need to get out. Like
I get it. Like I'm assuming you have a roommate for financial reasons.
it just doesn't sound like that's something that is an organizational problem. It sounds like a shitty roommate problem. And that's not, there's only so much you can do with that. Like, especially with, it's really important to figure it out because there's a child involved. And in my opinion, it's important to have like a safe space that's dedicated to her. But other than that, like there's only so much that you can really do when it's somebody else.
But I think it would be better to downsize your living situation so that you guys have your own space. Even if you don't have as many rooms or as big of a house, you at least have like a more safe, conducive, like, because again, you can make the smallest spaces work. You can get room dividers, you can do whatever you need to do. But if you have a space that is dedicated to you guys so you can make your lifestyles work better, then I think that's a better solution than trying to force this roommate situation that obviously is kind of detrimental to your guys' like mental health and well-being.
Well, and it's true. They're saying how it's hard to find a place right now. And I get that. I understand. It's tough right now with the market because everything's getting snatched up, but it's not worth your mental health to like sacrifice that.
The fact that your roommate will not let anyone in the living room while they're sleeping and they have their own bedroom is
unacceptable. That's not normal behavior.
No, that's not normal behavior.
And just because his name's on the lease, suddenly he's like the owner of the home. That's not how that works either.
No.
If you live there,
you have as much say.
Yep, 100%. That sucks. I'm really sorry to hear that.
That does suck.
I hope that you guys can figure that out, Ian, because that would drive me fucking crazy. Okay, yeah, no, I probably shouldn't swear if Hazel's watching. I don't know if she's watching or not. Anyway, I think we're gonna go to Goodwill.
Yeah, we're gonna minimalize our lives today.
I'm ready. We're gonna go eat food, and then actually I should probably put my kid down for a nap. I can't believe 31.
Yeah.
Maybe I should put her down for a nap first. Oh well, we'll
I'm
figure
sure
it out.
Cohen needs it out too.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, we love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching the Steph and Hayli show every Thursday at 11 a.m. I do put all of our episodes on my YouTube channel as well, so if you guys are interested in watching the VOD, it'll be up there.
Come check us out.
And we have a really awesome sponsored stream. We have another sponsor.
It's our first sponsored podcast episode next week.
Official sponsored podcast episode next Thursday. It is book club based. So if you guys are on the book club train with us, it's a really cool. Are we sneak peeking it? Just don't show my address. Brennan will murder me.
I just isn't on the book, right? Okay.
So this is the book that we'll be talking about, but there's a service that goes along with it that's really cool, and it actually fits our podcast perfectly. So if you guys are interested in checking that out, make sure you come by the stream next Thursday at 11.
It's really fun.
Otherwise, that's all we got. So yeah, we love you guys.
Thanks for watching.
Have a great rest of your Thursday.
We love you guys. Follow us elsewhere. We're also on Twitter and Instagram and other social medias. So.
At Hayli Neck on everything.
Yeah, at
FM Stuff on everything.
So come say hi to us.
Yeah.
That's all we got.